All right, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Sales Call Overhaul. Which episode is it, Jason?
29th.
29th.
Season 3, episode 1, if you will.
Okay, that works for me. Our guest today is Chris Laub, and we are very excited to have him, even if we had to ask him how to pronounce his name. Christopher is a very tricky name to pronounce, and we just couldn't figure it out. So thank you for giving us that explanation there. We want to let you know about our Sales Call Overhaul giveaway. We are giving away the $1,100 Sales Call Overhaul package. To win this package, all you have to do is message our page at facebook.com/salescalloverhaul and submit your recorded sales call for us. We will choose a winner. We'll notify you privately. We don't expose your, we've changed this. We don't expose your name or anything like that. Some people want to keep that private. And so we will transcribe, timestamp, give very detailed notes on everything that happened in that sales call. We will rebuild that call into a closing monster for you. And what we normally do with the 2-call version, the $1,800 version, is if you're not improving your close rate by 10% or more in 5 phone calls, you get your money back. So we're very comfortable with this sales call overhaul process. We know you get tremendous value from it, and we're very confident in that process. So we need content for the podcast, folks. Send those in, please. We literally do want to give away this stuff because it gives us lots of fun stuff to talk about, and it allows us to show off and be 10-year-olds on camera. So
you will remain anonymous.
You will remain anonymous. We're not going to use sound bites that expose your name, your client's name, or anything like that. So let's see. Next week's guest is Secret Ken.
Yes. Ken does not want his last name revealed. He's
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because people follow him around. And
okay.
He doesn't want them stealing his stuff, essentially.
Gotcha. All right. We'll be talking about scaling fast in e-commerce and growing a web design agency. Let us know who you want to hear as a guest. We are interested. So, and with that, I think we're ready to get the show started. Jason?
Talk to Chris?
Take us away.
Yeah. Yeah. So Chris Laub is a copywriter. He's become an agency owner, and apparently he's addicted to direct response. So I think you're going to need some treatment for that.
There are worse addictions, though.
He wants to let you know that his client list includes, this is some pretty cool stuff here, Shark Tank winners, 8-figure Inc. top 500 companies, and a variety of A-list marketing gurus. And also, he has helped launch just about 200 high-ticket funnels while working for a company we all know and love, Clients on Demand.
Oh, yeah.
Bang.
Bang.
Cool stuff there.
Yep.
So welcome to the show, Chris. Thanks for being here.
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me.
So let's jump right into the questions here. I really wanted to talk about the 3 things that you are in the midst of now, which are copywriting, Facebook ads, and high-ticket closing calls, which is a great area for us as well. What's missing in the approach or system of other high-ticket copywriters who are not you?
I think it's a lack of kind of understanding what you're selling in a high-ticket funnel, whether you're doing ads or even organic or whatever. It's kind of understanding that mix of selling the transformation, selling the outcome that the person is after, and then also properly selling the expert, the coach, the consultant, whoever it is that, with high ticket, it's typically as part of an individual where there's a coach or a mentor or whatever, and properly positioning and selling that person. And a lot of people don't know how to sell themselves very well, or they position themselves wrong. So it's kind of riding that fine line of not using too much hype, not building the person up to be some kind of god or celebrity, but at the same time, just really focusing on the consumers, that transformation, what they're looking for as a result of doing a high ticket program. And kind of the big mistake I see people making is positioning it the same way as an information product. So if if you're selling a $5,000 coaching program, just talked to a guy today who has a $5,000 to $10,000 coaching program helping busy entrepreneurs lose weight and kind of retake control of their health, their fitness, their energy levels, their confidence. Well, if that is positioned the same way as a $297 course that's supposed to deliver the same outcome, it's going to be really hard to justify that $5,000 to $10,000 price point. So you really have to understand that the focus on the transformation, really having some kind of system or what copywriters call a unique mechanism that that expert has, potentially patented, trademarked. That's their thing, their go-to system for getting their clients results, and really try to prove that that's the one and only, slash best way for the consumer to get the outcome they're after.
Yeah. The positioning stuff there's a lot of folks that don't realize the market position or the market awareness levels, the sophistication levels of the market. And as you are able to move into higher ticket stuff, well, your market is going to be more sophisticated than the $297 or, heaven forbid, the $47 markets. It's just they've been through more. They've often tried a lot of these less expensive products. They've tried a product rather than a service, and so you have to keep in mind. Okay, I am in the last resort kind of position. When I'm high ticket, I'm often in a last resort position. So being able to fulfill on that is important.
So for copywriters to understand that the buyer is different. The mindset of the buyer.
They're in a different place. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. With you're right. A lot of the people who come in, sign up for these strategy sessions on calls through a high ticket funnel or whatever, they have tried a lot of different solutions in the past, and some of those have been courses, do it yourself, done with you. And some of them have been other high ticket programs that they still didn't get a result. So it's absolutely critical that the copywriter, we call this a unique mechanism. Todd Brown is one of the only marketers I've seen that really does a good job of explaining this. But you have to give them hope in your funnel that this is finally going to be the time that it works out. This is what they've been missing in their life. This is the reason they haven't got the result that they're after. And now finally you are descending from the heavens with your incredible solution, and this is what they're going to get. And that sounds kind of like spammy. It can even be done in an unethical way. But this is why it's, a lot of people who fail with high ticket are legit. They never had the system for getting their clients results. They never lived it. They've never helped anybody actually get any results. So they don't have a system. They don't have any confidence in themselves or their quote unquote whatever system they do have to get someone results. So with high ticket, we're selling hope, but we're not doing it in an unethical way. We're showing them, look, I've done this before. I've helped my clients do it. I have a system for doing it. If you work with me, I'm going to put you through the system. And if you do the work, it's going to get you results. And that's a really important part of the high ticket copywriting process.
Yeah. I like to think of that unique mechanism as the way of helping people understand this way, this time it's different. Otherwise it's just, oh, well, he said he didn't mean it. And then they just feel like an abused spouse kind of thing. Oh, it'll be different this time. Oh, he's changed. Well, prove it. Prove what's changed in this new offer. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep thinking about
just to kind of give
on the phone.
Just to kind of give the audience a tangible example, with fitness, so many people still to this day are trying to say, I'm going to show you how to lose weight without having to go to the gym and without having to diet. Well, that's been said a million times in the fitness market before. You can't justify charging a $5,000 to $10,000 price point if all you're saying is, I'm going to show you how to lose weight without dieting, without going to the gym. So you have to, and it is all kind of psychological play. That's where just having your system and your quote unquote methodology, there's
Mhm.
outside the tech industry, there's almost nothing new under the sun when it comes to fit in. And obviously, there's a lot of different high ticket niches besides fitness, but it's the perfect example because at the end of the day, someone either needs to burn more calories or eat less calories. So people are always coming out with new methods and giving their cute names to their processes. But yeah, you have to have something that inspires hope in the consumer and that looks different.
Yeah. Yeah. It needs to have a different perception of the internals.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hop back to copywriters again. There are a lot of copywriters out there who are afraid to move up into the high ticket marketplace. What can copywriters do to overcome that fear of, oh, I'm afraid to charge these prices or to sell something for $8,000? Let's say.
I think as far as actual copywriters getting comfortable with charging more for their services, I think it's almost kind of like any other industry. It's that internal confidence.
Hmm.
Dan Kennedy talks about I love this quote. He basically said, your ability to raise your prices and charge a high price comes down to your ability to quote that price without cracking a smile. And so a lot of it, especially in copywriting, it comes from confidence. And you usually develop that confidence by going out and paying your dues and getting your clients results. So, with something like that, it's I was definitely that way. I had to take my lumps and be in the industry for a while, and write campaigns that bombed and just worked to develop my reputation and that confidence to charge higher prices. There's really not a whole lot of shortcuts for shortcutting the process. And usually the people who do try to shortcut that process end up, maybe they are able to sell something, but then the copy falls flat. They don't know how to handle the situation, and it backfires on them.
They get found out.
Yeah.
Sometimes imposter syndrome is not a syndrome. I'd say with the other side of that, the operating in the high ticket marketplace in terms of being able to sell high ticket products using their copywriting, it's really a lot of the same things. It's sitting down, doing the work, being in that industry for a while. Chris was at COD, same kind of way that I was at TF. And so seeing all that data come across your desk has a huge amount of instinct validation built into it. You just see what works constantly, and you see what's not working, and you see what needs tweaking and what changes. There's no way to replace that kind of confidence. I mean, you can sit down and you look at things now and you go, "Oh, I know. I just know." You don't have to. There's a lot fewer things that you have to test once you have that kind of experience. But um, don't eschew working for someone else first before you strike out on your own. Don't try and start at the top of the mountain at the very beginning. Chris has done his homework here, a lot of it. So there's a lot of power there. There's a lot of foundation built there.
Yeah. Those just the reps doing this stuff for 2 to 3 hours every single day, Monday through Friday for 8 months. It improved my skills like nothing else ever have.
Yeah.
Just exponentially improve my skills. And I don't come at this from a place of arrogance. I've just done like so many of these.
It makes all the difference.
I can very rapidly, it's like you guys with a sales call. You can listen in on someone doing a sales call, and because you've done it so many times, you can just you can immediately identify what they're doing wrong. It just comes from developing the reps, and whatever someone has to do to get those reps doesn't really matter, but it's like any other skill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hop into ad management. That is a key partner service for copywriting. It's something you're involved in. What can you do as a copywriter or a business owner? What should high ticket business owners be looking at in these areas?
Yeah, this is a huge mistake that people are making, and I don't even think they really realize that they're making it. But not having the copywriter and the Facebook ad manager or team working hand in hand on like a day by day, if not week by week basis.
Yeah.
I was just going through one of Justin Brooks' courses. Justin is like a traffic god, has spent more and managed more ad spend than 99% of these quote unquote gurus out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this really interesting section that he was basically saying, like, look, you can only push so many buttons in the Facebook ad manager. Like, you know, we don't have control. Nobody has control over the fact that Facebook ad costs are going up. And, you know, you kind of know from personal development, like, you need to stay focused on improving what you have control over. Nobody can control the fact Facebook ad costs are going up, but we can control our funnels. We can control the copy on our landing pages, our conversion rate, the copy on our webinar, the graphic design, all this different stuff. So at the end of the day, high performing ads are, you know, Facebook likes to see high engagement ads that get a lot of engagement, that get a lot of clicks. And that happens on the copy side. So like, what you have control over are your ads and your funnel. You really don't have control over what Facebook's doing on their algorithm side, on the back end side. So the highest like leverage points to improve the performance of a funnel are the ad copy and the funnel itself. There's really only so many things a Facebook ad manager can do. So I've been inside 7-figure companies where the Facebook ad guys, and very well-known Facebook ad guys that you know people see on their feed, were not talking to their copywriters whatsoever.
Yes.
Like, the Facebook ad guys were writing the ads. I, as the copywriter, was writing the landing page copy, and they were running those ads to that landing page. But there's no you know, AdSense. There's no connection between the messaging and the ads and the messaging of the landing page. So it's critical. Yeah, I don't see how any business that's serious about long-term profitability can kind of not understand the importance of having these two sides working together.
What does working together look like ideally?
Yeah, well, this definitely depends on the skill level and the responsibilities of the copywriter. I mean, if I'm kind of more of a funnel strategist at this point, with the copywriting as my specialty. If your copywriter is just writing, then at a minimum you want them providing the creative to the Facebook ad team. So they're the ones writing the ads. The ad managers are running those ads, and they're the same copywriters writing the landing page or the sales page or whatever. And then if it's at a higher level, like what I'm doing with my agency clients, then I'm kind of dictating the strategy. Me or somebody on my team is writing the ad copy, and we're basically just telling the Facebook ad, kind of like a media planner would tell a media buyer what to do. Say, look, these are the KPIs that we want to hit. This is the target audience that we're going after. Go out and make it happen. And then the media buyer goes and does that. So it kind of depends how involved the copywriter is in the kind of overarching funnel or marketing strategy.
Okay.
And for those who are watching who don't know, you do want your landing page and your ad to match up. That those messages need to match. If they're different, the person coming in from the ad is going to go, this isn't what I expected, and they're going to leave. So that's why we're talking about getting these things to match up. And so that you do not want the Facebook ads manager, like Chris is saying, to be writing the copy for the ad and then having somebody else writing an entirely different message for the landing page. Okay.
This can give the levels of disconnect pretty easily, as if you're doing a multi-type lead generation campaign for local services. Like when you have a website where people opt in for one thing and then you sell that lead to 5 different companies, those create weird leads and they create confused prospects, and it's not much fun for anybody involved. But you can get almost that same quality of effect just from having 2 different people write your ad versus your landing page.
Okay. So if you're a client, like a business owner client who's hiring these guys, you can say, hey, you two need to talk to each other, and this is how I want the work divvied up. What if you're one of those guys, like the copywriter or the ads manager, and you're coming to this relationship with these other 2 people or bodies, and they don't know that they're supposed to work together? What's the best way to get them on board? so that they're not fighting to protect their turf?
Yeah. I mean, that kind of sounds like just a communication issue. Just whoever is responsible for the strategy saying, "Look, we need you guys working together. Here's why. Um, your job, your contract with us is not under threat of being, canceled or overtaken by this person. You have two different responsibilities, but we need you guys working together. And here's why." And if they butt heads or have problems working together, then probably going to have to make a decision about um, who needs to go, who
Which
needs to
one?
stay, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. If you are one of those two, though, what should you do? If you're the
Um,
copywriter or the ads manager, you want to get all three parties to be working together.
yeah, I mean, that's a value add. If you can talk to the client and say, "Hey, I need to be working with your Facebook ads guy. This is why. If I can work with him, it should improve the performance of your campaign." That's just showing that you're a professional, that you know what you're talking about, and the client should appreciate you for doing that. And if they don't want to put the two of you in touch, then you can either make the choice that they probably have no idea what they're doing,
Right.
or just do your best with the assets that you have available to you. And, if it doesn't work out that well, then, you probably know why.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. For you individually, Chris, what do high ticket funnel clients have to understand about you and how to work with you before they're allowed to become a client?
Yeah, I think setting realistic expectations for sure. You see a lot of these high ticket quote unquote gurus, whatever, and they talk about the numbers that they do in their businesses. So they talk about, we're getting a 14x return on ad spend, and we're closing, when I get on the phone, I close 80% of our deals. And when our sales manager gets on the phone, he's closing 60%. And those numbers are always true, or there are also kind of asterisks that
Mhm.
things they're not telling you.
Mhm.
For example, like cherry picking the leads. So they're closing 80%, but they're
We
taking
know a lot
the
of closers that
top,
do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the top 20% of the most qualified leads that are coming in.
Yeah.
So um, I'm pretty brutal with my clients. We start off setting expectations in like a worst case scenario type of thing. And I'm like, look, if we can break even in month one, that's awesome. Like in month one, we're buying data. We're just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And just kind of undoing the expectations that have been set by the gurus and the people that are teaching in this space.
Yeah.
And there's some psychology there. Obviously, I want to set these, under promise and over deliver. Um, but yeah, I'm brutal with my clients about what they should realistically expect if we're launching a new campaign. Um, and if they're not on board with that, then that's just a huge red flag right out of the gate.
That's a no red flag. That's just a no. That's all the red
Yeah.
flags right there.
That's a goodbye. Sorry, not going to
Yeah.
work type of situation.
Good
So
deal.
realism. Yeah.
How common is it for you to have to undo the sort of the nonsense message out there of, oh, everything's going to be great and you're going to get a zillion times ROI? And
most of the people I've been attracting have been pretty level-headed, pretty cool. But yeah, I've had some problems. I had a guy. I posted about this on my wall. I had a guy who wanted me to push like one of the hardest offers I've ever come across. So basically promoting a live event in San Diego. So the consumer had to fly across the country for this 3-day live event to ice cold traffic. It was a $1,500 event. Had to pay for their own airfare, pay for their own hotel. And he was just like furious that we didn't have it profitable on the front end after like 9 or 10 days. And so it's like the hardest offer that you can ever run to cold traffic. And we were actually really close. Like we'd gotten a sale, we deliver 4 leads that he didn't convert because he didn't know how to sell. So we were actually like right on the cusp of being profitable on a very difficult offer. And he just flipped out and fired me. And what was interesting was I found out later that the people who did buy, even though we weren't profitable on the front end, went to the seminar and signed up for his like $7,000 coaching program. So after the back end sales, what we had done was still mega profitable.
Yeah.
So that, it wasn't my first rodeo. I tried to set expectations, but yeah, sometimes people just don't really understand that, like, you don't just become mega profitable overnight. This stuff takes time.
Yeah. Cool.
Very cool. Let's hop into avatar or ideal customer creation. How often are you involved in doing that with clients? Do they come to you already with it, or is it oh, hey, we've got to figure this out? Or are you telling them you need this?
Yeah, it's all three. Kind of depends on their experience level. With some people that have already been successfully selling their program, then they, generally speaking, have their avatar dialed in. At most, I have to kind of talk with my ad guy about refining the ad targeting. But if if they've already sold 6 figures of a high ticket program, for the most part, they're going to know who their audience is. There are some people that have a general idea, but they're not crystal clear on their offer or their messaging, in which case, we have to go deeper into that. And then there's some people that think they know who their avatar is, but they're actually off. And I've seen companies that are making 7 figures in spite of themselves. They actually didn't, they were selling well, but actually didn't really understand their avatar. And then I was able to come in and do some kind of basic Ryan Lebeck style deep dive surveys and say, look, like, actually 80 to 90% of your buyers are not who you think they are. And those companies went on to become massively successful after they kind of adjusted for who their actual avatar was. So all depends on the client.
It's a powerful testimonial for the power of an offer.
Yeah. I'd like to hear an example of that if we have time. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Let's.
Did you want me to go into that right now?
Sure. If
we have time.
So this actually wasn't high ticket. This was information products, but this company was in the paleo space, selling, doing 7 figures a year, and they thought that their audience was kind of men and women 30 to 45 that wanted to lose weight and get in shape, and was a little bit of a psychological bias because they were essentially describing themselves. They, as the owners of the companies, were 35 and had friends in that age range that wanted to get ripped. So their marketing was pictures of them on the beach with their shirts off, working out in Venice Beach and da-da-da. And, one of the guy's wives, and she's super athletic and all this stuff. And they had a multi-6-figure, hundreds of thousands of people on their list. So I execute this survey and dig into their buyer data. And it turns out that, like, a very large, something like 70 to 80% of their buyers were women over 55, all the way to as high as 75, who wanted to eat healthy to take better care of their health. So they didn't care. They really didn't even care about losing weight that much. They were more concerned with preventing chronic disease, joint pain, all that different stuff that people in that age range deal with on the health front. So they immediately updated their ad targeting, saw immediate improvements in conversion and ad costs and whatnot, and completely changed their branding. They were using a lot of white and red and black, like you kind of see in the muscle programs targeted towards younger males. Updated that for light blues, using photos of senior citizens, people in their golden years on their sales pages. And they went on to do 8 figures and become an Inc. 500 company. So obviously it's not just because of, what I helped them get clarity on with their targeting and whatnot, but this stuff is massively important.
It's a vital piece of it. I've found a lot of times with the avatars, especially with newer folks, which a lot of our audience are newer folks right now. So I found a lot of those folks, they tend to, when they have avatar bias, and most people do in some way or another, but they tend to believe that their avatar is richer, sexier, and younger than it really is. I rarely see people thinking that their avatar is older than it is. It happens sometimes, but um, be careful of the glamour of a sexy avatar. I guess I I would want to add that in there specifically. It's easy to get caught up in the glamour of thinking that your customer base is a certain way. But that's really powerful there. Thank you, Chris.
Chris, do you have an idea of why the original offer worked on the unintended buyer demographic? What was it that they were buying out of what was being shown to them? Because something clearly resonated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of things. I mean, it was a hot niche at the time. This was when paleo was hot, so it was a hot niche.
People were looking.
The one of the women, like the co-founder, co-owner, had a really powerful story. Coincidentally, her story was not about losing weight or building muscle. It was about recovering from a chronic disease.
Yeah.
And they had expert level media buyers there.
Okay.
So, and they were working with good copywriters. So yeah, there's just so many biases that business owners suffer from. And like what's amazing is it really doesn't take that long to get clear on this stuff. You hold 10 to 20 calls with some hot prospects, and you're going to know more about your market than 99% of your competition. I mean, you can literally do this in 1 to 3 business days. I just earlier had a client who's kind of in this situation. And yeah, I sent him my market research phone script and training videos like, look, get on the phone with these people, because this is the only element that's missing in your coaching business. You don't know exactly who your avatar is, exactly what problem you're solving, and exactly what messaging is going to resonate with them. So until you take the time to figure that out, we're going to be throwing darts in the dark. We're just going to be taking guesses and trying to, guess our way to success. And that's what so many business owners and copywriters are doing. They're too lazy. They don't want to put in the work, or they don't realize the importance of this stuff. And they just think they already have it figured out. And really they're just testing. They're just blindly trying to test or, force their way into success. So yeah, important stuff.
It's hard to guess like you're on a multiple choice test when it's not actually multiple choice, when it's freehand text. You can't guess your way through that. That's not a reasonable approach.
So when high ticket funnel creators are creating that avatar, what are a couple other big things that they could do that maybe are conceptual or action oriented to help them get to that ideal client faster?
Yeah. It's kind of cliche in the industry right now, but everybody's talking about just solve one problem for one ideal avatar. And it really is true. People like to say, like, until you're at 100,000 a month, just focus on solving one problem for one avatar. And I think where people kind of get tripped up on that is they think that their avatar is one avatar, but actually it's 2 or 3 in one. Or they think they're solving one problem for them, but really like they're not focused enough to like really laser in on one problem. I've seen it so many times. They're trying to throw in mindset and weight loss and energy levels and confidence and social skills. And just like the more stuff these coaches or these people add on, the more diluted it gets. So
both diluted and diluted. Yeah.
yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, kind of, looking at it from a 40,000 foot level, just really understand like what is an avatar. Like 30 to 40, 35 to 55-year-old males is not an avatar. Like what someone who's 35, which is almost myself, about to have kids, haven't quite bought a house yet. Like those are the issues I'm dealing with. Somebody at 55, they're thinking about, do I have enough money for retirement? Does my wife still want to have sex with me? So really understanding like how tight, how specific does an avatar need to be to the point where it's actually clearly defined? And then what is that one mega life crisis that you're going to solve for them. And that, the more painful, the more urgent the problem is, the more money you can charge to help someone solve that problem.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's hop into Jeremy's favorite kind of question. Let's talk about guarantees. I got two questions here. First one is, what makes for a good guarantee, in your opinion?
I think just kind of standard copywriting stuff. It just removes as much risk from the consumer as possible. With high ticket, it's a fine line. The overwhelming majority of coaches are not using guarantees in their programs, and they probably should be. At the same time,
there's a market opportunity for it, at least.
Yeah. At the same time, you can't just give these blanket money back guarantees, because typically coaching is a done with you. By definition, it's a done with you thing. It's the consumer's responsibility to do what the coach says, put in the work to get the result. So, I think there has to be a fine line between showing that you as the coach, as the mentor, are willing to put skin in the game and show that you're committed to the consumer's results, but then also protecting yourself and making sure the consumer understands that they're going to have to do the work to get the result. So that's what I'm working with my clients to do. I've seen the clients, the coaches who start using guarantees almost always see immediate spikes in their sales conversion rates. It's really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
How specific should those giving high ticket offers make those requirements for the guarantee to be valid? I mean, we've seen guarantees that are pretty much impossible to hit the conditions of, right? Like, sure. Jeremy, if you give 6 months worth of work, and then say, hey, if you don't get through this, if you got 3 months to get through it, basically, right? To do it all, there's no way it's possible. Yeah. But then we'll give you your money back if you don't see results in 3 months. Like,
yeah,
that's not an offer we would back. By the way, we would be like, no.
Yeah, it's hard to answer that specifically, because I think it varies industry by industry. With something like a fitness or nutrition coach, you can try to say, if you do all this stuff, then after 90 days, you should have lost X amount of weight. But even then, you don't know that the consumer's genetic makeup. You don't know their metabolism. Maybe they execute on your system perfectly, but because of their metabolism or whatever, then they don't get that result. So I think it's a mix of, it just kind of has to feel right. I think a lot of this is, I first heard this from Jeremy. I think it's brilliant. I talk about it with people all the time, but not selling the guarantee. The guarantee is to push people who are on the fence over, kind of over the limit, and just get them to commit. But if you're selling the guarantee, you're setting yourself up for people who are constantly have that guarantee in the back of their mind, and it's almost like they have an escape button. If they start to get frustrated, if it's harder than they thought, they've got that that easy button that they can push and just eject out of the situation. So I like the guarantees that basically say, we're going to get you this result by this date, and if we don't, we're going to keep working with you until we get you that result. Because that's basically like, look, we're not going to give you your money back, but as long as you're doing the work, we're going to work with you until you get the result that we told you we were going to get. That's what I do in my agency. That's what some of my other clients who are kind of in the B2B, LinkedIn coaches, stuff like that. That's kind of what we're doing now. So, I definitely like that. I think the other thing with high ticket is trust. High ticket is very much a relationship oriented thing. So you want to be ideally in the sales process, and I'm sure you guys can speak to this more than I can, but ideally in the sales process, you're feeling each other out. You're picking up on the vibe of, is this person like, like when I had people like asking me a lot of questions about my guarantees in my copywriting coaching business, I knew that they were just looking for an escape. They weren't going to be accountable to do the work. They wanted
My
to know.
next questions when somebody is on that kind of thing is, so tell me about some experiences with other copywriters, with other sales agencies, with other providers of my stripe. And you will get story, 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 story. That pops up all the red flags you need right now. Right there. They're looking for an escape, and they've had bad experience after bad experience. And okay, well, we're done here. That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think to the best way to avoid refunds is to disqualify up front and only let people into your program who are committed to putting in the work and don't really care about the refund, because they just want to know that you're going to hold up your end of the bargain. So I think the guarantee is for kind of pushing people over the edge and giving them that confidence. But yeah, if you're ever selling the guarantee, you're just setting yourself up for pain, problems in the future.
Yeah. That should be the final 7% of your offer. If they're not sure, it should not be 70%.
Right. Mm-hmm. I like that guarantee that you gave, Chris, because that's one that I've used many times over the years. Very handy.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people be successful with that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When is a guarantee not desirable? When would you be like, no, this isn't appropriate here?
I think it's kind of like you said, if they have to jump through so many hoops, or I've seen some of these information product marketers where it's like, if you submit screenshots showing that you've done all this shit and like then we'll get on the phone with you. Or if you get on the phone with our salesperson and they hassle the hell out of you for 60 minutes and you finally cave, or you don't cave in, then we'll. So yeah, I don't really know. I don't have like a ton of experience with helping people come up with clever guarantees. It's usually pretty obvious to me, what they should be offering. But if it's the thing where it's like so far down the road, it's like, well, after 6 months, if I feel like that probably doesn't have a lot of power. And if they just have to jump through a lot of hoops or technicalities, then
I think you said something important there, that word of power. Mm-hmm. Right? If the guarantee, just to have a guarantee is not a good idea. That's my takeaway. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to make weak guarantees because usually it's a lack of confidence in their ability to get their clients results.
Yep.
So when I see someone who's afraid of making a guarantee, that's kind of a red flag to me, because that says they're probably not that confident in their ability to get their clients results.
Let me give you one modification for that, because I see a lot of people who are afraid of guarantees at the beginning until we do the math.
Mm-hmm.
So I typically ask people about guarantees up front, and then we do math with them. Like, okay, is this really your success rate? Show me, prove it. Let's look at the screenshots together. Let's look at inside your dashboards and see what your clients are doing. And by the time we're done with that, I can show them, well, okay, so you're getting a 2.5% refund rate. Your chargebacks are non-existent. And here's the avatar you've been going after. I think you'd be okay with a money back. 2 conditions on it. Here are your 2 conditions, and you're solid. And they often go, oh, well, okay then. So just knowing your own numbers, being able to track that stuff can be very powerful and take a lot of the fear out of it. But if the math does not support it, that's still a huge red flag then if they're still not confident about it. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I'll, I kind of do something similar to that. I'll have to start using that. But people have irrational fears. Like John Carlton talks about this. Like there's no hungry mob of ripoff artists out there like looking for high ticket programs, like anxious to put $6,000 on their credit card, do this 2 or 3 month program, and then refund it. Like that. That's so uncommon that with almost any guarantee and direct response, the uptick that you see in sales
Yeah.
Offsets it. Even if your refund rate does double, it's still going to offset. The overall profitability is still long-term
Besides,
positive.
once
So
one person buys it and refunds, it's out on all the pirate sites anyway. So more people don't have to buy it and refund it. So you're
yeah,
covered. You got the one guarantee, and then you're done.
yeah.
I
Cool.
had a couple of other questions, and some people like getting into these, and some people don't. But um, think this over and let me see. So I have really started focusing on my own mistakes in business. Like, what are the mistakes that I made 6 months ago? What are the mistakes I made last year? I don't typically talk about the mistakes I made this morning because they might apply to something I'm dealing with a client right now. But I, if you're willing to share, then I'd love to hear about some of the mistakes that you've made as a copywriter, either taking on clients or in a campaign itself. And then I really want to ask about what are some of your favorite tools to use, specifically software tools. I want to know what tools everybody uses from now on. It's just I found that such a useful question.
Okay. Um, on the mistake side, I mean, there's mistakes that I made in my own business. There's mistakes I made dealing with clients, in
Those are
writing
going to be helpful
copy.
to the
I
audience.
don't. um, I think mistakes in dealing with clients is not being empathetic to their mindset or emotional state.
Mm,
I saw a great post from John Carlton the other day, basically saying like, for every level of frustration that you experience when a client sends you a question,
Mhm.
lop a zero off your income. Um, and it,
yeah,
pretty, yeah, good little quote. And basically,
yeah,
like, yeah, as a service provider, it's really easy to get frustrated when our clients are shooting us questions and bugging us. Um, and you like, yes, there can some people step over the line and
sure. Yeah, bad
scope
clients,
creep
bad
and all
clients.
that stuff.
Yeah,
But really being empathetic, like especially in marketing and sales type stuff, these people are making an investment, typically a 4 to 5 figure investment,
hmm,
um, upfront, and they're hoping that we are going to provide a positive ROI and help them make even more money and grow their business. And
yeah,
it's understanding the kind of the fears and everything involved in that, and just being sympathetic to those and responding in kind, giving them time,
yeah.
etc. So that's one thing I've had to do on the agency side,
Hmm.
that I had experience with it as a copywriter, but as I raise my fees higher and higher and I'm charging these 5 figure prices, really being sympathetic to
Yeah.
those requests and whatnot. Um,
If you're in high ticket and you're dealing in transformation, you are dealing in emotional turmoil.
yeah.
That's your new area. Now that you're in transformation, you are going to have emotional turmoil with your clients. So be
Hmm.
ready for that. Be willing to walk them through that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
And kind of a
had to
single
do a lot of the same thing. Yeah.
and kind of along the same lines, when I'm working with coaches that have either brand new programs or newer programs, getting them to understand that what they're actually going to be dealing with is the mindset of their buyers. 99 times out of 100, they have a solid, proven system for helping their market get results.
Hmm.
Um, and if things like emotions and mindset weren't an issue, everybody would go through the program, take action, and get
Yeah.
results. The
Yeah.
reason that doesn't happen is because of mindset and emotions. So making sure that coaches understand that it's really like they need to be coaching. They need to
Yeah.
understand how to coach. It's not just giving someone access to a video course and saying go do this.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's important. On, I mean, mistakes on the copywriting side, um, not understanding the importance of writing copy a lot. Yeah, just
Uh-huh.
um, yeah, you just like, so many people don't respect what copywriters do. So many people have been burned by amateur copywriters. They paid a copywriter, the guy wasn't really that good or didn't know what they were doing. and just understanding like it's literally no different from playing violin or becoming an Olympic swimmer. Like it's a skill. You need to be practicing it every single day, ideally every single day. And the more, there, you can read books, you can take courses, you can do coaching programs, but like, Stephen King said, writers write. Like you get better at writing by writing a lot. So that's one of the big problems I've seen in the high ticket world with these kind of guru programs is just the idea that an everyday coach is going to sign up for this program, write their own copy, run their own Facebook ads, record a webinar, do their own high ticket sales calls, handle fulfillment. Like these are literally skills that professionals spend years to get decent at.
So the idea that it took me like a week.
So the idea that any Joe Schmo is going to come off the street and get halfway decent at all these different skills is just completely ridiculous. So that's a huge thing holding so many coaches back, is that they just refuse to give this stuff up. They are trying to do it themselves because they don't have the money. And it's because
they refuse to get funding to do something right. And so they do it wrong 4 times in a row, spend 1.5 times as much money as they would have spent, and they have 1 or 2 years less income savings in the bank than they would have had in the bank before.
So that's a huge problem in the high ticket industry, is this coaches trying to do too much themselves.
And I've done that.
I think we all have when we were in the bootstrap phase. I don't know anybody who came out of the gate with the wisdom that they need to delegate everything outside of their zone of genius right away. But I mean, if somebody wants to succeed, like they need to be very self-aware of what skills are in their zone of excellence and delegate the other stuff as fast as possible. I just wrote about this yesterday. Like it's just skills. Nobody has enough time to master all these different skills. And if you want to really grow beyond that 10, 20,000 a month range consistently, good luck doing it on your own on a consistent basis.
Our ops manager, Lynn, has literally written a program on scaling your business, like on the internal side. And she talks about in that, I mean, that's why we hired her, is because it's a great program. But in that, she talks about how most people will hire a VA first, and how that's almost always wrong. They need to hire a specialist super part-time first, and just get the little bits that you can get from that expert first, because as you grow, people try and be generalists, and so you just have the same problem as you trying to be a generalist across 3 people.
Interesting.
The actual right person first in each area. Don't try and do a half-assed job on these 9 different things from the beginning. But I really like her approach. It's very countercultural, and I like what you're saying about that too. That's cool.
Knowing yourself.
As far as mistakes that I made in my own business, which is, I don't know, probably what the viewers are going to get the most value out of. I think it was just not understanding the importance of selling. Just there's so much busy work and so much quote unquote stuff that people can do to avoid selling. Creating content, perfecting their avatar, creating their systems over and over again, even though they don't have any clients to put those systems through, clients to put into those systems. So anytime in my life, in my copywriting career, coaching business, with this agency, when I was not holding calls with prospects or doing the whatever thing I needed to do to get calls with prospects, I wasn't making money, period. And I wasn't growing. And anytime that I have taken steps to get on the phone with prospects and try to sell stuff, I have made money, usually easier than I thought it would be.
You find time for the other stuff.
So, I think most people who aren't hitting their income goals is probably because they're doing everything that they possibly can to avoid the one thing that would make them money, and that is get out there and sell whatever you're trying to sell to somebody.
Right. Well, cool.
Do you want to ask Steven's question, or should I?
Go for it.
We have a question from the group. So Stephen Monaco, who's an outsourced CMO, asks, separate from guarantees, is there anything you use for risk reversal on a high ticket offers B2B 30K plus price tag?
So outsource CMO. Yeah, so I mean, if he really is at the CMO level, working with the type of company that needs a CMO, and it sounds like if it's 30K and up, then he is. Something, like the standard, whatever, revenue, like with my agency, like that kind of like ROI positive guarantee, that's not quite as relevant, because when you're in the type of organization that needs a CMO, they're looking at longer timelines. Their numbers are generally smaller, like a 20% 20% increase in revenue or profit is big. Whereas for a lot of like tiny, coaches, we're trying to 4x and 10x our business. So yeah, I would imagine for something like that, it's almost kind of like the health coach. Like his client's ability to get results depends on the degree to which they implement what he's teaching them. So yeah, I'd probably look at it as more of not so much like a money back guarantee, but I don't know, satisfaction guarantee. One thing when you're in the marketing or sales side is they can show you're willing to put skin in the game is basically like, I just heard that Alex Mandozian does this. So his funnels are 30,000, but he charges 15,000 up front and then 10% on the first 150,000 in sales to make that second 15,000. So that shows that he's willing to put skin in the game and say, look, like I'm going to get this making money. So that could be an option for Steve or Steven. I think it's just being realistic about how large is this organization, how fast can they move given their industry, what kind of improvements are realistic, and just coming up with something that's fair to both parties and has both parties putting skin in the game. Yeah.
Stephen, I really like that question, by the way, and I think risk reversal and proof elements, that's worth doing a series on. So we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, sir.
Also a good reminder that companies have a metabolism and genetic makeup, just like the health coach clients. Good stuff. All right. Well, I think we should finish up there.
All right.
I really enjoyed that. And I especially enjoyed the last few details we got into. That was a bit more personal. I enjoyed that a lot.
Thank you,
Chris. People can go to chrislaub.com to find out more about you. I know you've got the services built out there. Anything else that you'd like them to know about, stuff you're working on, that kind of thing? Who should be working with you?
No, last name Laub. I know it's not very common. I know you asked about the tools. Honestly, I'm not too tech savvy on the tool side. I keep it pretty simple, stuff like ClickFunnels, lead pages, what's it called? Webinar Jam, Stealth Seminar on the webinar side, Google Analytics, Active Campaign on the email marketing side. I'm not too fancy on the tools. For the most part, I think the tools don't really matter until you're at like a really high level, and those, squeaking out a 1 or 2% improvement because some tool has XYZ feature is going to make a whole lot of difference. For most marketers, it really doesn't. But I'm not too hip on the tool side.
Well, that works, man.
All right. Well, awesome. We'll wrap it up. This has been Sales Call Overhaul episode 29, Jeremy. Wow. Woo, fireworks. Kaboom. Chris Laub. Next week, we'll be back with our secret guest, Ken, talking about growing design agency, like a web design agency, where he was getting $10,000, $15,000 web clients, even higher figures much larger than what most people are doing in that field. And also he's moved into the e-commerce industry. I've known him for a long time, and it was cool to get him to agree to come on the show.
I will look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, it's going to be
Mentioning his
different.
last name. Okay.
Different. Exactly. Now, I hope you're recording your sales calls.
Record your sales calls.
Record them.
Please
Listen to
record
them.
your sales calls.
Yes. We have a free webinar, a pinned post in this group, the Sales Call Overhaul group on Facebook. If you're not in there, go to facebook.com/salescalloverhaul and message the page to join and watch that webinar, because we teach a whole bunch of things that will help you improve your calls, so you can record, listen, do your own mini sales call overhaul for yourself, do a little better, and then when you're ready, submit a call to us. And I'll have to include the link in the video description because I haven't looked there.
They can do it through the same bot.
Through the message? Okay, message the page as well. And get that call to us. Remember, it's completely anonymous. We're no longer playing sound bites or anything like that. Nobody's going to know.
We're not playing long enough sound bites to matter, and we might not be playing any sound bites if they're relevant. Yeah.
Right. So this is a great chance to get our $1,100 product working for you
for free.
Yeah. All right. That's it. We're done. Thank you.